Good morning, 6th grade. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting to separate my mixture. So, I will start by saying my mixture has been sitting over here on the fireplace for the last couple days. So, there are quite a few things that could have happened if anyone were to touch this. Things could have gone in, things could have fallen out, etc. So, I am fully aware that I might not get back the same amount that I started with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling out some materials that I think I'm going to need for this lab. First one is magnet. I'm going to keep it in this baggie because it'll make it nice and easy to actually remove items that get stuck to it. I'm going to take a pie pan so I can dump my mixture out and easily comb over it. I'm going to take some filter paper here. That's going to help me with separating here. I'm going to take a graduated cylinder to measure my water. I'm going to take one of these funnels to help me with actually separating and making it a little bit easier on myself. Yeah, that's all I'm going to take for right now. I'm also going to take a beaker here just to make it a little easier on myself for later. So what I'm going to start on doing here is I'm going to take my mixture and I'm going to put it in this container. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my beaker and I'm going to find the mass of it before I start. So you can see my triple beam balance is balanced. Put it on, it goes up, and I'm going to find what the mass of my container is. 200 drops it, 100 is not enough. Take my 10s here. 60 is just a little bit too much, so I'll put it on 50 and do my 1s here. There we go. So take a moment. I want you to put the mass of this on here. Remember, this is between 7 and 8. You count each of the little dashes, and that is 0.1 plus our two larger measurements that are on here. So again, if you need to pause, now is the time to pause. Now I'm going to take my mixture. I'm going to dump it in my pan. So you can see, spread it out a little bit here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my iron into this container. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it here. I'm going to put my magnet to it. I'm actually going to pull up this real close. And to take it out, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and brush it off here. See, I can easily pull it off. On the other side here, take it, I can easily pull it off. But then to make it a little easier, because you can see I still have a couple stuck here. What I am going to do, put that down in the bag. I'm going to open the top. Take my magnet out. Oops. There we go, and you can see they kind of drop back. Now if I look at my mixture here, I still have some left over. There's definitely some in there, but I'm going to work on taking that out. So I'm going to pause real quick so I can take the rest of it out, and then I'll show you what it looks like so we can find what the mass of it was. I figured why I do this. I can show you a close-up of what the iron looks like as we are going through this lab. I will say my mixture is now starting to look a little bit done, but you can kind of see if I run this over real close, I still have some little tiny pieces that are coming up. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to shake this up a little bit, spread it out a little bit more, see if anything comes up that is new. Yeah, you can see some of the little pieces are still coming up here. So make sure that if you guys ever choose to do this, you run it over a lot of times. Okay, so now this was our recorded mass before. What I'm going to do, if you haven't recorded that yet, please again take a quick look. And this goes on the line for massive container 1. Or no, massive container 3. I should really reorder that because the mass of the iron is down at the bottom. Container 3, my container that the iron is in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on. You'll see it goes back up to the top here. You turn that back and let's see if it goes up to 60 and works. 60 works. Let's see, 70. Drops it down to the bottom. So we got 60. I'm moving my ones place here. There we go. Here's our numbers here. Take a moment, pause this screen if you need to actually calculate it, and that number is going to go directly on the mass of the, well, not actually. You're going to take this mass of the container plus the iron and subtract it away from the container to get the mass of the iron. So we've got this number, whatever it is, minus the mass of container 3 that you wrote down. This number minus container 3. Okay, next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the mass of my next container, which is going to be my salt container. Yay, salt container. But I'm also going to measure the mass of my filter paper, which is going to be the container for my sand. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add water to the salt and sand mixture, just so it goes together and dissolves the salt. Then I'm going to run it through the filter paper in the funnel so that it goes in here. The salt water is going to go through the filter paper. The sand will not because it's too big. You can't even see through the filter paper right here. So again, gonna put water in the salt and sand mixture. Put the salt and sand mixture through the filter paper to put it into this container. So what I'm going to do, filter paper first, put it on. Let's see what the mass of it is. Wow. There's the mass. Those two are on 0. This is the filter paper. So when you have that taken down, you can pause the screen if you need to. What you're going to do is you're going to put that mass on the mass of container 2. Again, this mass is the mass of container 2. And I'm going to pause. Okay, so what I did was I took my filter paper, made it into a little cone, and then I wet it a little bit so that it sticks in my container. You can see the bottom of it is not open, so the water is going to go straight through it. The sand will stay in the container. I'm actually going to put it straight through my container here. You'll see we have this right here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put 50 milliliters. And actually, I'm going to do a little bit more here. So I'll do about 75 milliliters of water into my salt sand mixture. Then my salt sand mixture is going to go into the cup. So I'm going to put my water in, I'm going to mix it up a little bit so we can see what happens. So I will say that to make transferring a little bit easier for myself, I actually put my mixture from my pan into my container here. You can see there's some small granules here, so that may throw out my results a tiny bit. I'm letting my water run for a second to make sure it gets nice and warm, so the salt will dissolve a little bit easier. Again, waiting and feeling. There we go. Now that it's warm, I'm going to put some water in here, making sure it reaches. I'll put it down on a flat surface to double check. I'm a little bit over, so what I'll do is I'll drop a little bit. Now it's a little bit under. So I put it in, get it measured. There we go. And I'm gonna put it directly in. So that's 25. That's a little much. So let's see. It's a little much. That's a little too little. Let's see. And that's a little under. There we go. And I'll dump it in. Now I'm going to hold back on my last 25 here because I'm going to put this through the filter paper, and if anything gets stuck, I'm going to use that last 25 to actually put it in. So again, I'm going to take it for a second, mix it up a little bit. I can grab a pencil or something to mix it together. Ideally, I'd use like a little wooden stick, but I don't have that right now. Actually, I'm going to use a pen. It'll be a little bit easier. Take it, mix it up. Trying to get all that salt dissolved. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to pour it in my filter paper. I'm being careful not to let it overfill here, because I don't want to go past. You can see down below, it is a very, very, very slow process. So don't get frustrated if it takes a while. So again, it's getting down a little bit so I can take it, fill it up a little bit. Again, very, very, very slow process, but you guys can kind of see the murky color that it is on top versus down below. It's not as murky. I still have a lot in my container. So this is why I saved my last 25 milliliters, because I do have some that is stuck. Very, very slow process. It's slowly going through. I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to get my last 25 milliliters to add in here. So there's my last 25 milliliters in with my salt sand mixture. Mix it up, drop it down. Dang it. Since I do have a little bit more, I am going to add, yeah, I think I can add 25 more milliliters. I think I'll be fine. It's actually kind of interesting if you can see down here at the bottom. You can see a little bit of motion going on here from it going out and filling up the container. So just kind of cool to watch. We'll lift that up so it goes a little bit easier for us here. So students are coming, so I am gonna kind of pause this here. I am gonna let it continue filtering out here. You can see there's still a little bit of water that's trickling through. We have this right here, still going. So I'm gonna put it off to the side for a little while.